Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tiger on the Block, the only podcast that takes collegiate a cappella members and makes them really uncomfortable for 30 minutes. I'm Tony like the tiger, Voss like the water.
And I'm Jessica Block, Michelle Obama's best friend. Move over, Barack. No, wait, come back.
Today's episode is very special because we have two founding pitches here with us to share with us the never-before-heard story.
The wild.
The crazy.
The epic aca saga we call Pitchstory.
Brandon Free and Thaddeus Demeke, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves? Who are you? Where are you from? What you're from? Why you're from?
How you're from?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon. I'm a current fourth year at UCLA. I'm Pitch Please's bass. I'm from San Jose, California. And I met Thaddeus in my freshman year at UCLA, and that was when it all started.
Amazing. Okay, hello, everyone. My name is Thaddeus. I graduated, 2019 from UCLA, and then that's when I stopped my time at Pitch Please and left. But I kept doing a cappella. I'm a first-year grad student right now. I study industrial organizational psychology at San Diego State, and I arranged for the group Soundwave there, and I competed with the group in ICCAs this past year. So hopefully one day I'll get to compete with Pitch Please and whoop them. Just kidding. But yeah, like they said, Brandon and I were the two founding members of Pitch Please, and I'm from San Diego, by the way, San Diego, California, and I'm excited to share more of the story of Pitch Please.
Before we get into the Pitchstory, what are your guys' favorite things about a cappella? We'll start with Brandon.
Ooh, it's definitely got to be the rich blended chords. You get that in collegiate a cappella, you get that in professional, but there's something about just a well-blended group of voices that's just really pure.
Yeah, I agree.
When I first came to UCLA, when I heard all the groups that were already big and well-known, and I was like, dang, this is a sound that I definitely didn't get to experience in high school, like being involved in like band or choir. And then getting to see that really theatrical, dramatic aspect of ICCAs, of how you can take that sound and then now do like this whole story and really engage large audiences. I think that was always my draw to a cappella. Like even in the beginning when I didn't know we were going to compete for sure, but I always wanted to see if the group would be willing to make it competitive into inter-competitions, perform for people, show people our hard work. So I really like that aspect of Pitch Please, a cappella.
Awesome. So now I'd really like to get into the Pitchstory. I'm a very new member currently of Pitch Please, and I haven't heard a lot of it. So the first question that I would like to hear from both of you is, why are we Pitch Please? Pitch, comma, please, exclamation mark.
I could...
To be more...
Yes. Yeah, so
I can just start off by saying, apparently there are a lot of Pitch Pleases out there in the world, but I did not know this when we were choosing the name. I was like, we had a bunch of different names actually, first of all. So I think I started just a list, and I sent it to the group, and I was like, I really like Note to Self. I think that'd be a cool name. It's like low puns, clever. And then I think some members at the time were like, oh, that's kind of boring. And then one of my friends, I think I said to my friend, like, oh, what if you're asking somebody for the pitch? You're about to start a song, and you're like, can I get the pitch, please? And then he kind of changed it to be like, Pitch, please, So it really came from just one of my high school friends, and I was just bouncing ideas after, because I think the first quarter we were unnamed as a group. We would just sing covers of pentatonics and had no name. And then we were like, okay, we're going to be a real group. We're going to have auditions, a website, everything. Eventually we need an actual name. And then that kind of just struck, like when I asked the group what they thought of that, I feel like they thought it was kind of funny and it made them laugh. So we're like, this is cool. It kind of felt like us.
When was that first quarter that you guys first met up?
Fall.
Yeah, and
that would have been fall of 2016.
Yeah, so the reason why, if you look at the Pitch Please website, it says winter 2017. It's because in fall 2017, I guess we can talk more about details in a second, but basically we came together and then things weren't working out, so we kind of split, and we never really had a name, and we weren't a registered organization at the time. So then we really count winter 2017 as the first actual quarter, because we became like registered, we named ourselves, and we had like an actual steady group of people instead of like people coming in and out and us figuring out what was happening. But yeah, we can talk more about that in a second.
Yeah, so that brings us to our next question, which is a Pitchstory recap. So we want the full beginning to end story of how this group became a group, from people meeting up to sing all the way to the ICCA Semifinals, just the entire story. And you guys can switch off, you guys can bounce things off each other. We just want to know, how did this group go from nothing to something, and quite a good something, if I do say so myself?
I could recap the very start of it, if you don't mind. Okay, so basically, I think like most people entering UCLA for the first time, I was interested in singing, so was Brandon. Like, we had known about aca-appella, like professional groups, and we tried to break in the collegiate scene, and we were just auditioning for a bunch of groups. And then I met Brandon, I think, at 2 different callbacks that we were at. So we were auditioning for other groups at UCLA, and then so we started meeting people. I started seeing the same people. And then I forgot what group it was, but I remember one night, it was specifically outside of Schoenberg. And then I think it was after the callback ended, and I was like, I don't know about that callback, it's okay, but I really want to do a cappella. And then I remember asking Brandon, like, I just wanted to sing, and I didn't know if like any of the groups were like a perfect fit, or if I would get into any of those specific groups. And then I think Brandon was the first person that was just like, yeah, that sounds good. And then from there, I was like, oh, when you pitch a new group to someone, you don't know what's going to happen. So Brandon kind of giving me that reinforcement. I think from there, we kind of branched out, and he reached out. He knew a lot of people. Brandon was in marching band. I mean, you could talk more about yourself, but Brandon brought some of the first few people we had, and then I was able to find other people from like callbacks that I met. So we really just met outside auditioning for other groups, and we're like, let's just break off and do our own thing and like bring in people we know. So that's kind of the very first, I guess, night that Pitch Please was conceived, was right outside the music building at UCLA.
And Brandon, what were those first rehearsals like, when it was just a few people just trying to start forming a group?
Honestly, they were pretty chaotic at first. We had just kind of started organizing ourselves, like Thaddeus said, and so we just showed up to Lot DD behind Denev and Dijkstra. And just, printed out some copies of some pentatonics music and just handed it out to the people that showed up. There was maybe 4 or 5 or 6 people that came to the first couple of rehearsals, and it was a lot more like joking around and like not all that much actual like productive singing. But at the time, we didn't have any like structure or any goals aside from just getting together to sing for fun. So that was all just kind of a good time. I feel like every 2 weeks or so we would have like new songs that we would try out, and whether it worked or not didn't really matter. But no, for sure it was definitely an unstable time. It wasn't until winter, when we established ourselves, that we kind of fixed our repertoire, started actually working on the same songs. And then rehearsals just kind of became more structured and more serious.
Could you guys tell us a little bit about like the first auditions that were ever held?
So kind of based off what Brandon was saying, I think one of the reasons why we realized it wasn't going to work out just gathering like people we knew, because really our only requirement to the beginning first like chaotic quarter Pitch Please was, do you want to show up to rehearsals? And people would just show up. We had like no defined goal. And I think the thing about that is that when you show up to rehearsal, some people will be like, let's really do this. And other people will be like, oh, let's really do this. And then there's just like, okay, we're just learning songs. Like, we have no performances or goals. Like, what are we working towards? When we decided we wanted to be a group, we were like, okay, we need to have actual auditions. So we can screen and have like-minded people to actually get something done that we want to get done. And at that time it was very simple things. We weren't even really set on ICCA's a winter 2017. It was just, we wanted to just sound better and have a balanced group of like more committed people. So, I think that time we actually didn't even flyer in person for that auditions. We just posted on every Facebook group, like, there's the UCLA class of 2021 or something people. We would just go, starting new a cappella group, please message if interested. And then I don't even know if there was like an audition time sign up. They would just message us, and then we were like, okay, come to this room at like this time so we can do auditions. We didn't we weren't like super on top of it like Pitch Please is now, where there's like multiple flyering sessions and like 3 days of auditions. But we got some really core people that really helped the group come through like all the years to come after that and go through 2 years of ICCAs. People like Will and JC.
I mean, Will actually lived on my floor in Hedrick, so he saw it when I posted it on the Hedrick Facebook page, and so I was pretty surprised when I saw him there. Honestly, I didn't even realize he was there for our auditions, but yeah, he ended up being a really, really solid member of Pitch Please. It's still our tenor up until today.
Once you guys had those first couple rounds of auditions and the group started to grow and become more official, it still wasn't ready for tournaments and for ICCAs and even for performances that were kind of larger. And then toward the end of the year in, what year was that? I guess the end of the year in 2019, the group started to perform more with other groups. Can you describe going from those first couple auditions to opening for other groups to ICCA performances? How did you get from auditioning new people to being an official and consistently good sounding group?
Yeah, I could add like a little bit to get this started. I think the first thing that we needed to define was what was possible. And so I think getting everyone, like there were a few people in the group that knew about collegiate and pro acapella, but really not everyone really did. So we had a few gatherings. I was an RA that time, so we would just gather in my room and like put on ICCAs and try to just get everyone excited and be like, look at this, like nor'easters, like do you hear the sound? And then people started getting interested themselves and like sending each other like videos of acapella. So I think just showing people what was possible and sort of getting them excited, because I think at that year there weren't that many competing groups. Yeah, there were like 2 competing groups total. So in 2018 we went to an ICCA show together, right?
Yeah, it was actually in Royce Hall at UCLA.
Yeah, so there was a big quarterfinal happening, like a little regional happening at UCLA, and then we all just planned to go together. And then after we saw that, we're like, I feel like, remember that feeling, Brandon? We were like, if we could practice just a little bit more, I feel like we could be there. We definitely had a strong acapella community already at UCLA. And I feel like that was great for us to just having that network of like, we always have shows to go to. And we were telling each other like, hey, there's a Scattertones concert tonight. Like, let's go check it out. We always had role models and big names in acapella right near us that we can always just check out and really strive to achieve acapella higher and compete in ICCAs like we did the next year.
I'd say the growth definitely happened over the course of the 2 years in small baby steps. Back in like fall of 2018, that was the start of our second year. We'd started auditioning more formally and like actually started flyering. And then from that point, we expanded our repertoire a little bit. And we had started looking for on-campus performances. So, we did like a luncheon for the UCLA Regents, and we went and volunteered at like the Senior Living Center in Belmont, and performed at the Mattel Children's Hospital. And like those little performances kind of got people excited about actually singing for people. And I think that gave people a common goal as well. And so as we started kind of working our way up in the UCLA community, then some of the other a cappella groups kind of recognized us as an official group. And, with the help of some of our friends that we'd made in those other groups as well, they started inviting us to open for them. And that was when we really like set foot in the college a cappella scene. So I think opening for the other groups kind of gave us a sense of what it was like to perform with those other groups, what to strive for in terms of sound. And, that got people excited about collegiate a cappella competitions.
Actually, the next question we have combines both ICCA experiences of this group. Could you guys describe, and I know Thaddeus, you were in our first one and you watched our second one. Brandon, you were in both, and by those I mean ICCA performances. Could you guys compare the performances and describe our sort of journey to the first one and then growth from the first one to the second one? Just sort of lump them together, talk about the experience as a whole and how you felt we improved from one to the other, or how the experience changed from one to the other.
Sure, I can start. So for our 2019 ICCA performance, that was our first one. Definitely nerves were all over the place. We were pretty high strung going into the competition. We had a pretty solid set, and we definitely practiced really, really hard. We sounded good. We had all of our choreo down. But overall, our performance level wasn't quite there at the same level as like the top groups that were performing at our quarterfinals. And so by the time we like made it to the competition, a lot of us were super nervous. We were like chugging honey, making a lot of tea, all that kind of stuff, and just trying to kind of calm down backstage before we had to go on. But I'd say compared to this year, they were almost polar opposites, This year our set was really cohesive. Our music sounded great. We knew that our choreo was super unique. And so the group was really, really just confident with the product that we had kind of created over the course of the year. And so by the time we were there at the competition, we were confident, we were relaxed, and the whole performance just felt so much easier. So I think part of that came from experience. Part of it came from knowing that we had a good set.
Our first year at ICCAs, we forgot to bring water, and we didn't realize they wouldn't really be providing any for us. So that was an interesting journey as well.
For me, so I performed in the 2019 one, and I was obviously not in the 2021. I was at SDSU with Soundwave. But I wrote a little bit of the music and helped like the early stages of like the idea and stuff of like the set. So I feel like 2019 was kind of, we weren't as familiar with collegiate a cappella when that set kind of came to life. It was just kind of our breakthrough, like let's sing some like clean music and like go into a cappella. And then 2020, like by that point hit, everyone was sort of, especially the leaders and people who designed the set, were really into a cappella, and they were like, okay, now we kind of know like the trends and what people are doing. Now we want to do something different and like push the boundaries a little bit on a cappella. And things like the beatbox solo, the characterization and like theme throughout the set, like all those things in the 2020 set for Pitch Please, I feel like really made it stand out and led to like you guys doing so well in the competition. And as you can see by the amount of awards you received that night. But yeah, I think really 2019 was just a breakthrough, like we can do this. And then 2020 kind of pushed did something really innovative and cool of what was happening in ICCAs at that time. Was there a second part to this question? Was that it?
That's good for this question. Being part of like the last ICCA competition that we've been a part of, like I think it really goes to show the level of growth that Pitch Please has come to have with everything that we do. Speaking of which, like I know one of the things that we pride ourselves a lot on is being so early into the collegiate a cappella world. We were able to push out an album and a music video. So could you talk a little bit about the recording and producing process when it comes down to that?
Yeah, sure. I could talk a little bit about that. So as far as recording and producing the album, not a lot of us knew like what was possible at all, or like what the rates were at all. And I think I heavily relied on I had a friend, well, he's still my friend, Brandon Tai, who is he was the arranger and music director of Resonance for several years. And so he does a lot of recording and stuff. So I kind of came to him and was like, hey, I'm really trying to do this with the group. I'm looking for like inexpensive ways to produce like content. And this is something I think at the beginning of the year that the group already decided was like an interest of everyone. Like when we kind of went over our goals, we were like, oh yeah, the previous year we recorded a single, My Heart With You.
Yeah.
Right? This year we already had that goal in the beginning. All the members were like, let's put out an album, a music video. We're going to be like those groups you see on YouTube. And that was like our goal. So then we kind of set goals of dues. Like we needed actual money. Like once we started actually thinking about it, I started getting quotes from people who did audio production, and then worked with, I think it was Brandon at the time, or Lucas. I think both of you guys at some point dealt with the money of the album.
Yeah.
So then we worked with, okay, we need to like, we asked the group like, okay, how much can we kind of contribute every quarter? So then we implemented monthly dues the year 2018 and 19. It was the first time we like asked people to pay money. But it was always in the interest of ourselves and our experience. So like if we can all invest a little bit more, then we can record a whole album and a music video. And then, it was a lot of work to track everything. We did a GoFundMe And I think everyone was really good about getting people excited. I think some people were singing covers for their friends to get them to donate and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it really was a year-long effort. We defined that goal like far in advance. We planned out to have dues to get that cost down overall that we needed to raise in the end. But yeah, I think it was really fun. And when people got to the studio, at the studio it was Brandon who was doing the recording and editing, and then I was there like, you know, to make sure people sing the music right. And I think people were excited to get their voice like sung on that professional studio microphone, and then hear it like playback with everyone. So I think that really got everyone excited for the album, and like the reason why we did this GoFundMe and raised so much money and paid dues and stuff was to release that content. So yeah, everyone was super hyped too when we released the video. We're like, that's us, it looks so professional. And when we filmed the music video with Baxter Stapleton, super cool guy, threw the water on the ground, and then we had like light reflecting off the ground, and then everyone's like, oh, this is magical.
The ground was purple.
Yeah, the ground turned purple. At first, we thought he was trying to clean the ground. We were like, dude, we don't have that much time. Like, we're paying hourly. and then we saw the light reflecting, and we're like, this is gonna be a cool music video.
That's some Bob Ross shit right there.
Yeah. Our next question and our last question our last couple questions. We have two more. Our next question is, what has Pitch Please meant to you? So just talk about sort of your own personal experience with this a cappella group and how it's helped you through your college experience. Maybe times it's been stressful, but really what it's really meant to you personally.
Yeah, I can start. So college has a tendency to be, really busy. Sometimes it can be stressful. And I found that music was always my best escape from that. So, participating in marching band as well as a cappella were kind of my chances to just explore music and kind of relax with that. So Pitch Please was an awesome way to, kind of just de-stress, sing, have a great time. And when we started pushing for competitions, it gave me, a goal outside of my academics too. So I guess in a sense, Pitch Please was, it was a good way for me to set goals for myself and to get closer to everyone in the group. It was a great environment for the past 4 years.
Yeah, very similar to what Brandon said. Pitch Please was like one of the reasons why I really wanted to make an a cappella group was like the sort of like community that you would be entering. So like once you make an a cappella group, you sort of bring together a lot of people who I feel like have really unique musical tastes. Like you always have friends to invite when you have a party that you can harmonize to, make music with. So I think joining that community of a cappella and singers and really having that experience was really important to me. And then also, I feel like I've learned kind of that story of having that unorganized group, doing auditions, goal setting. It really helps, I feel like, me understand how to work with other people, how to work in a group setting, an organization, and sort of, it kind of was like a several year-long team building experience, like being in an organization like team building or like Pitch Please. When you have such high goals and such difficult things that nobody can do on their own, like you really do need each other. It's a really a growing experience to like delegate tasks, do things for each other, and really just achieve stuff that like none of us could raise this much money and make all this music ourselves. So doing something together really, I feel like it really teaches you a lot about teamwork, being in a group and trusting other people. So that was really fun. And then you get lifelong friends. So, I mean, that's cool. You always have people. I mean, I'm pretty sure years from now we'll remember our parts and we can just sing Palace and other songs.
We still have to get an alumni song. That's something that we gotta get.
This is true. Yeah, so something for Rin. You hear that?
Just like as like the latest batch of pitches, or being a part of the latest batch of pitches, like I really just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for creating this group that like I've been able to just vibe with and be able to create art with. It's been a really amazing experience. And I wanted to know if you had any tips for our listeners out there who maybe they want to start their own a cappella group. Maybe they feel like the other groups out there just aren't for them, or the people who are listening, maybe acapella isn't as big of a thing where they are. How could they get started?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is, well, first of all, just reach out to people and meet people. I think one of the things that helped me the most is talking to people in a cappella. So either like at your school or your community, having those role models and people to look up to and ask for advice and things that are like near you, I think is really important, really helped me a lot. Also, having a clear goal is very, very important. So you can, if you just say like, who wants to sing, come through. If you have a certain goal in mind and you're going to push the group to want to do that, I think you have to be clear with that from like the very beginning, and you have to be very intentional with who's going to actually make up the group and what do they want out of the group, or else you're setting yourself up for a lot of resistance and a lot of not getting things done that you really want to get done. So that, yeah, if I had to say, I could go on way too long, but if I had to narrow it down, let's say make in-person a cappella friends that you can really talk to and network with, and then get like-minded people together so you can accomplish goals and with the least amount of resistance and have a good time.
Awesome. Brandon, anything you want to add on top of that?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I think the most important thing is having passion for it. So if it's something that you want to make happen, make it happen. It's not really gonna start up if you don't put in the first steps, you know? I actually have a friend at a different university who is kind of going through the exact same thing that I was. And I was saying, you know, put yourself out there. And even if you don't find a group that's really the right fit for you, then you can always start one. Just find like-minded people, kind of as Thaddeus was saying, and, you know, start making music. That's really the most important part of it.
Incredible. Thank you so much. We have a game for you all to play, but before we get into that, we would like to thank our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Alliteration, lavishly lathering our language with love.
And by beach towels. 2 times the towel, 4 times the fun.
So as we've told you before the podcast recorded, we're doing a small game of song association. Jessica, could you real quickly recap what song association is for those who don't know?
Of course. So what we're going to do is we're going to alternate back and forth. This isn't a competition between you as much as we'll each give you individually a word. You will take that word and you will have 10 seconds to sing a part of a song that has that word in it. So as an example, if I were to say the word car, you'd have 10 seconds, and maybe within that 10 seconds, you'd think of the song, Baby, You Can Drive My Car, and the minute you say car, the time stops and you have the point. So let's do this. Tony, if you want to do the first word, I will time, and we can just switch off. And Brandon or Thaddeus, which one of you wants to go first?
I volunteer, Brandon.
Okay, Brandon's going first.
We'll take it. All right, so the first one, we're going to start really easy, and then we're going to slowly build our way up. So, Brandon, your first word is happy.
'Cause I'm, if you feel like a room without a room, 'cause I'm happy.
That's a point for Brandon right there.
All right. See, I think we're starting off really well. Do you want me to also give Thaddeus the next one?
Sure, I'll just keep timing. I'll give you guys, you can't see it if you're not here with us right now, but you will hear me counting down from 10 on my fingers.
I'll add a little somewhere. Yeah, we'll call up Andrew and we'll have him beatbox some clock noises. Thaddeus, your first question, part of the warm up, is love.
I can only think of arrangements that I wrote myself.
Time's up, but we still want to hear what it is.
Well, are you talking about my arrangements?
Any song has the word love in it.
It's not a real song. There's this, if you see the Soundwave 2020 ICCA set, at the end it goes, will you show me your heart? Won't you give me your love? That's the line. I can't think of real music anymore. I've been too deep in the acapella world.
He's too
What
deep
song was
in
that
the
a part
pain.
of?
Oh, it was Sam Smith and Yaba, No Peace.
Ooh, nice.
It was the last
Love
song
Yaba.
in the 2020 ICCA set. Check it out. There's the word love in there. Not real music though.
All right, we're gonna move on to round 2. Brandon, I hope you're ready. The hand clock is up. Take our word for it. Your word is mama.
Nope. Nope. I couldn't think of one.
Here's a hint. There's a pitch song that has it in there.
Are you serious? Hey, I don't sing any lyrics. Give me a break.
The beginning of our set from
Oh
last
my God.
year.
Oh, my mama told me not to change my life. She said, spread your wings, my little butterfly. Yeah, you're right.
All right. Dang, this game is... Whew.
This game is hard. It's hard to be on the spot.
It is. Yeah, it's like you could probably name a bunch of songs that have the word happy in it, but as soon as somebody tells you to think of it, it disappears. Thaddeus, hope you're ready for round 2.
I think I'm ready.
I believe in you.
Let's do this.
Your word is moment.
Oh, is that one Volplex song? Must wait for the moment. Gone home, something bad. Wait for the moment. Volplex.
You got it.
Yes, I did it.
Got a point. Right now it's
I love
1-1.
Music.
1-1, and now we're on to the hardest ones that we have available.
The final round.
The final round.
Oh, is that?
All right. The final round. Brandon, are you ready? The clock is up. Your word is... Pause for effect. Breaking.
Yeah, we're breaking free. High School Musical.
Soaring.
Ah, yeah.
Calling it back to the High School Musical, but you got it. That's a point.
That's the point. All right, Thaddeus, are you ready for the last word?
No. Well, let's do it anyway.
All right, let's go.
Yes.
This word is a very interesting word. The clock is up. Thaddeus, your final word in song association is moped.
Oh, there's that one Macklemore song. Something over there, moped running down the street. Something like that.
I'll give it to you.
Jessica, how does it go?
I went to the moped store. I said, the salesman's like, what up? What's your budget? I'm like, honestly, I don't know nothing about mopeds. He said, I got the one for you. Follow me. Ooh, it's too real. Chromed out mirror, don't need a windshield. Banana seat, canopy, I'm 2 wheels. 800 cash, it's a hell of a deal. I'm headed downtown.
Ooh. Cruising through the alley.
Tiptoe through the streets like Delhi.
Oh my God, it's such a stupid song.
So I guess that leaves our game out as a tie.
The tie, 2-2. Good job, you guys.
I said the word in a random sentence. That's great.
Hey, but you know, we knew what you meant. That's what matters.
That's great.
Same with you, Brandon, that last round. We both knew what you guys meant, so it's all...
So now that we're here kind of like wrapping up at the end, if there's anything that you want to promote for yourself, for your group, for your new group, Thaddeus, we'd love to hear about what you guys are going to be up to in the near future or in the far future. Just
Even right now.
promote yourself. Go.
Okay, hello. My name's Thaddeus. I love acapella. After Pitch Please, I went to San Diego State, and in grad school, I'm doing more acapella. Didn't start my own group. There's no time for that now. So I'm with Soundwave at SDSU, arranged their 2020 set. I really want to break into arranging for other collegiate groups and doing more like professional things, especially after I graduate too. And I'm getting into like audio production and like recording, editing, mixing and stuff, all that I'm planning to do for the future. So yeah, check out Soundwave. We're going to hopefully release an EP at the end of this year-ish. And then the 2020 set's on YouTube. We were at the San Diego quarterfinal. And if you want some arrangements, let me know. Or if you want to talk about acapella, also let me know.
How could...
Good luck to you.
How could people reach out to you? I don't know if you covered it, but how could people reach out?
Probably email. I guess I feel like all the people nowadays are like, oh, here's my Instagram, man, message me. Like it's like our new phone number, but probably email. It's just my name, Thaddeus Demeke @gmail.com. Yeah, if you find me, if you just email me and you're like something about acappella, I will definitely read it and we can talk.
Sounds good. Do you have an Instagram handle or Facebook thing that someone could follow for Soundwave?
Oh yeah, for Soundwave.
Or
yes.
for you.
Soundwave. I think it's SDSU Soundwave should be the handle for. I'm checking it as I talk slowly so I can make some time. Yes, Soundwave SDSU is the Instagram handle for Soundwave. So check that out. And then mine is MadThad, MADTHADD.
Awesome. Brandon, is there anything you would like to shout out for Pitch Please? What we may have coming up, what you have coming up for you in your own life? Maybe? I don't know.
Not particularly. I mean, I suppose keep your eye out for Pitch Please's newest works. We're hoping to record our 2020 ICCA set at some point. We'll see how that works out with the Ronies going around. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything personal. If you're a first-time listener to Acapella, give Home Free a listen. They were my start to Acapella, and they're an awesome group. So you can find them on YouTube. But yeah, that's it for me.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us today on this episode of Tiger on the Block. We would also like to thank our diligent confidentiality specialist, Rick Roll, for never giving us up or letting us down.
Our private jet pilot, Ella Faba, for helping us to defy gravity.
And of course, our listeners. Thank you for tuning in.
Join us again next week when our guests will be Sarah and Ryan from Accords Acapella at UCLA, chiming in all the way from Japan and Hong Kong, respectively.
This has been Tiger on the Block. Remember to treat those vocal cords right.
Try out that riff you've always wanted to try.
And chug a ton of honey.